Hello and welcome to the Royal Road School of Carmelite Prayer. As a preparation for the study of Teresa's book of her Foundations, we are currently going through an extensive introduction prepared by Father Kieran Kavanaugh. He's a Carmelite friar. And today we are going to be looking at austerity in the Reform movement. So during 16th century Spain, incredible types of austerity marked some of the Reform movements in the Spain of Teresa's time. And according to popular notions, high perfection required rigorous austerity. It even made its way into the court of King Philip II. It was, in fact, the austerity of Teresa's friars that helped them win the favor of the king. In houses of prayer, the prayer of recollection or eremitical life, steps were taken to ensure that the hours dedicated to mental prayer would be many and that the austerities, obvious, such as bare feet, coarse woolen habits. Teresa's nuns and friars did, however, all eventually begin wearing hemp sandals, and in Spanish that is alpargatas. In its relationship to prayer and recollection, austerity was looked on as an aid. By quieting the activity of the exterior senses, a person enabled a kind of sixth sense, where lay spiritual powers capable of grasping realities lying beyond matter that were particularly about the reality of God, who is pure spirit. O.C.D, the Franciscan monk who wrote the third spiritual alphabet that Teresa used extensively to learn mental prayer, taught that closing the bodily eyes and exterior senses would open the soul's interior ones. Teresa herself, though, could not help feeling a certain skepticism about these extremes. The Lord told her that she herself was walking on a good and a safe path. The Lord said, Do you see all the penances that she does? Let me tell you that I value your obedience more. He was speaking of the penances of Catalina de Cardona. Teresa points out that Catalina had so many penances and disciplines because she had no one to guide her. Teresa begged her friars at Dorello for moderation, fearing that the whole work could be ruined through excess. She observed in her own communities that when physical strength is weakened through austerities, a kind of delightful absorption may so overpower a nun that she will allow it to possess her for long hours and even days. Such absorption differs from rapture, which is short-lived and extraordinarily beneficial in its effects, while the long periods of absorption are simply a waste of time, according to Teresa. In her view, the balanced life of prayer, work, solitude provided all that was necessary for reaching the goal of the spiritual life, which is conformity with the will of God. Harsh austerities are no more necessary than raptures. Teresa's often quoted passage regarding perfection. The highest perfection, obviously, does not consist in interior delights or in great rapture or in visions or in the spirit of prophecy, but rather in having our will so much in conformity with God's will that there is nothing we know He wills that we would not want with all our desire. and in accepting the bitter as happily as we do the delightful when we know that his master desires it. The adaptability manifested in the virtues of obedience and humility impressed her much more as a means of spiritual growth than did a harsh lifestyle. In her love for obedience and examples she gives, Teresa can sometimes give the impression that she encourages extremes or even apparent foolishness. On the other hand, though, her enthusiasm for obedience is put in perspective when she issues warnings against indiscretion and offers a practical norm that's easy to grasp for everyone. Teresa felt that Father Grazian could promote the same balance among the friars because she desired that her friars be good contemplatives as well as good spiritual directors and preachers, and that there be learned men among them. She felt that too much stress on austerity would discourage desirable vocations among university students. After Teresa's death, those seeking to conserve her spirit fell into disfavor. Fearing that Madre Teresa's spirit would be snuffed out, Father Grazian put up resistance and in turn was expelled from the order. His appeals to the king went unheard. Among the nuns, Maria de San Jose and Ana de Jesus, Teresa's intimates, also underwent punishment within the order, a kind of exile, for seeking to save what their mother foundress had established. Grazian insisted that Teresa was foundress of both friars and nuns. All in all, it was just too much for these tough, austere men to admit that they had been founded by a woman. The pervasive thinking went that since men are stronger than women, they can practice more austerities. Thus the nuns could only share in the perfection of the friars. To be continued. The next topic within the introduction that we will look at is the world of the 16th century. God bless you all for listening and for being a part of this channel. Amen.